What's going on, everybody? It's Dan Tom here from MMA Junkie as well as the Action Network. But on this here program, the Protect Your Neck podcast, we break down high-level MMA. That's what we're going to do here today, tonight, whenever you're listening to this. Hopefully it's for the fight. Recording this late. It's like old school, except I'm not doing it audio. I'm doing it video, live, in the flesh. Recording it late night. Wendy's late night. I have food on my mind, clearly, because I haven't been eating much of it lately, it feels like. Hanging out in the mid-170s. I know it may not look impressive because I've got Takanori Gomi face where you can never tell if I'm in shape or 3 sheets to the freaking wind. But, I lost over 30 pounds hanging out in the mid-170s. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with my details. But I do want to apologize, though, while I'm going through this training camp of sorts. Being so touch and go with the podcast times. So, hopefully, not muted. That's always great. I've been good about that for the last 2. Didn't want to leave you guys hanging. Wanted to give you guys something. Did some in-depth study on some of the fights, the ones I'm most excited about at the top. I'll let you guys know, full transparency, the ones I haven't dug into, the ones I'm looking to dig into, and the ones, don't expect much from me, in other words. As always, full transparency and all that. Eric Betts Fights. What's up, Eric? How you doing, buddy? Yo, late night Dan Tom hangout. Sign me up, man. I'm glad to see you here. Eric's the man. You should check out his channel, by the way. I did a show with him a few weeks back, but I got to get Eric, whether it's his place or mine, I should say, as far as podcasts go. I gotta get back with that dude. Eric, I haven't forgot about you, buddy. Hopefully you'll be hanging out and catching up with a lot of Las Vegas locals. Or those of you who visit Las Vegas for the fights upcoming and being able to partake in fun stuff again. Once this is over, it's looking like November 19th or 20th. There's 2 cards going on. And they're still trying to find me an opponent. I'm still pushing forward, doing the old striking lessons, grappling lessons tomorrow, conditioning sparring, getting my butt kicked in sparring, by the way. Oh, boy. I mean, it's very humbling. Again, this stuff ain't easy, and as my guy Alvin Yakitori would say, to keep it positive here, really appreciative of what these fighters do. Let's not take it for granted, even though many things do take these independent contractors for granted for all they give us. So I'll break down what I think of these fights between those said individuals from top to bottom as per usual. No card to recap, so hopefully we can knock through this fairly fast. I do want to get a couple shouts out as I'm trying to fight my food urges. The good thing about waking up early and doing 2, sometimes 3 a days, like my Mondays, for example, I'm so tired and it makes it easy to go to sleep. And if you go to sleep early, it makes it hard to eat late, right? You know what I'm saying? But now I'm finding myself up late for the first time in a while, and I'm hungry. I'm light on weight, but I've been good, man. I haven't gone through good old diet and exercise, I guess. Haven't gone through any of the old drive-thrus or anything like that. Cutting out the pork, fast food, alcohol. But my goodness, I was talking to my guy Oscar. Shout out to Oscar, killing it. Oscar Willis from the Mac Life in the program, and we were just like, man, I could see why so many of these fighters juice. I mean, speaking of juice, I got a shout out coming in. We're gonna get to this breakdown, but I could see why so many fighters juice. There's it's ridiculous. It's I know I'm unathletic Dan Tom here. I'm 37 in a row. Closer to 40 than my 20s, which was the last time I cut weight. But my goodness, it's just the amount of pain, injuries to just muscle soreness, everything in between. I get it. It's funny. I think I was listening to the Co-Main Event podcast, and Ben and Chad were saying, shouts to those guys, they're awesome, by the way. They were saying how their stances over the years have changed over that stuff, and I would say, mine probably has too. I think I would probably consider, after I compete here, I would consider something like a TRT or something as I get older. Jesus, I want to keep doing stuff, and it's I'm feeling it. I'm not even that old, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I still want to have many years above me. So for like a men's health thing, like I've actually kind of, had different tunes, but then, part of me, I still have that martial arts old school part of me where it's like I was okay with my opponents in the past doing steroids when I fought amateur in the past. I asked myself in the back, I'm like, okay, you got to be okay with like the most steroid jacked, whatever the scariest person is in your head, picture that. You have to be okay with fighting that person. Because in my head, I was like, you got to be okay with like the worst case scenario. And so I was never hardcore about it. Like I would judge people even before. Don't get me wrong, but I even people that was going to try to do me harm. But I definitely did have that, and still have a bit of that old school. My mind is my body, honorable, and this and that. But it's funny, if I'm being honest with you guys. My opinion's definitely changed on that stuff. I'll tell you what is helping me recover though, and keeping me up as I was trailing off on the food talk. Turmeric tonic by my guy D-Love, D-Loves _ turmeric _ tonic on Instagram. Of course, not Master of Love, the Round 3 prop originator, but my guy D-Love, the other D-Love that I shout. And you can also find him, D-Love, as well on Instagram. But the website actually is theturmerictonic.com if you want to order yourself some. Really good stuff. And then I also, rambling on about coaches and appreciation, I wanted to shout out my striking coach. Let's get him some more followers. He's fighting next week as well. My guy Abijah. I think his personal Instagram is it's tied right to it. So let's get his professional right in the professional one's bio. Ason Striking, ASON _ striking. So while you're giving my guy D-Loves _ turmeric _ tonic a follow, make sure you give my guy Ason _ striking a follow as well. That's my Black Hawaiian brother Abijah, my striking coach over there, Extreme Couture, helps me and many. So make sure to give him some love, and yeah. We'll do some Amazon reads, and we'll get to this breakdown, folks. Liam Picks Fights, my guy Liam in the house. I want to get my guy Eric Betts Fights up there in case you missed his earlier. Go follow him, and also go follow my guy Liam. Not recording till after my Dan his spec. Well, I'm going to try to make this quick, Liam, and people can jump over, and if they're not already following you, and if they are, we'll make this work. You get the best of both worlds tonight, because my man Liam is the man. I've popped into a couple late night Liam sessions myself, so I appreciate you, Liam. I appreciate the badass thumbnail. Yeah, it's definitely, I will say it's a fight that I'm looking at, Liam. We'll get there. I don't know what I can give you, but I'll say it's a fight I'm looking at. We'll get there. I got to go top to bottom, so let me get these Amazon reads knocked out right quick, and then we will get to this breakdown started. Again, mixedmartialanalyst.com supports this here free show. You can find the link in my, for everything there, as well as the website in my bio on Twitter. That's where I'm most active on Twitter, Dan Tom MMA. I've actually been really active on Instagram again during this fight camp, and I've been posting a lot of stuff. I've been barely posting at all on Twitter, actually. I've been actually posting more on Instagram, which is really weird for me, but in case you want to follow me there and fucking be a lurker, it's Dan Tom MMA or some shit with some underscores. There, but mixedmartialanalyst.com supports this year's show, guys, and you can go toggle to the right or just scroll down, look to the right. You will see secure PayPal links if you want to make a direct donation. I am a fool and I don't have a Patreon yet, even for free content for those who want to support, just to make it easier, because again, I am a fool and I'm a bad businessman. I've got some decent analysis, stick around for that. I'm a fool and I'm a bad businessman. I'll be upfront about that. But if you want to support, you can do it that way, or if you want to support for free, like kill two birds with one stone if you shop it on it or Amazon. There are Amazon and on it click-throughs still on the webpage mixedmartialanalyst.com, which means with one extra click, maybe two, you go to the website and then you click one more on the banner to go shopping. You go shopping, and with no extra clicks from that, no extra charges to you, a small portion of whatever you purchase and normally purchase from those sites will be kicked back to this here program. Which is really appreciated. Now, for On It, it doesn't do it, but for Amazon, it does tell me what you buy. It doesn't tell me who you are, don't worry. You want to go have one night in Bangkok. You want to buy the David Carradine, get yourself a good time set. You know, with the Ultra Vibration Max 5000, the Karate Gi. No one's got to know. No one's got to know. I will pontificate on your purchases, and I will try to predict who it is. Possibly throwing some people under the bus while doing so, but no one's going to know it's you. Let's see what people ordered. Someone ordered Daniel Caesar, Freudian Limited LP, exclusive blue vinyl. Hipsters coming through, and I am not talking shit because that was an expensive vinyl. I have a bunch of vinyls and no record player because I'm a fool, folks. I'm a fool. But I do actually have some pretty. I've got some decent vinyls. If you're into the punk hardcore, I've got some like really random classic rock shit too. But yeah, I got to get myself a good record player. But thank you for purchasing your records through mixedmartialannals.com. Click through link. Someone got JFO Beast 58 grappling dummy. What? Who's setting up? Is that my guy? Is that my guy Danny G? Danny G. I know my guy Danny G on the amateur team and also Alta program. He's setting up his garage gym too. Shouts to my guy Danny. I don't know if that was him or not, but hey man, I was thinking about those grappling dummies the other day. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me know how that is. Whoever bought that's actually pretty badass. Someone bought Ultra 4K HD Top Gun Maverick. I haven't heard a bad thing about it. You know, wasn't like rushing to go see it. It was really, it seemed really popular. I think I was seeing something else at the time of the movie theaters. I'm like, oh wow, this Maverick movie's pretty, and I haven't heard a bad thing about it. So thank you for buying an Ultra 4K HD DVD because they're not cheap. I don't know if this is the same person or not. They also bought The Northman. Is that already available? I haven't seen that yet. I've heard some mixed things on that too. I'll probably check it out. Let's see. Someone got ProCase iPad 10.2 9th generation. Thank you. I'm guessing this is the same person. 2-pack ProCase iPad 10.2 9th generation. Taking care of the people. Made of Skur PS4. I take it that's a game. It's not too expensive. I think the games are finally going down from $50 or whatever the heck. Pokemon Sword and Shield Fusion Strike. 8 sleeve booster packs. I just got like a flashback to like that Pokemon Snap game. You guys remember that? I don't know. I used to play the little on the Game Boy Color and what was it like in the 90s? Remember Cue Ball? It's like assless chaps or something. Some creepy stuff in that game. Oh, those Japanese. Quarter Japanese, I'm just saying. Jesus, Dan, easy. Travel laptop backpack, black backpack, 15.6 business flight. All right on. Hopefully that thing's good. The Quarry, PlayStation 4. Is it the same person there? I'm not sure. Somebody bought Jurassic World 4K HD. I mean, hey man, if you're gonna buy 4K HD, buy these epic, these big action movies. Indiana Jones 4 movie collection in 4K. They got the Indiana Jones in 4K. Oh, no time for love, Dr. Jones. Let's go, baby. Clearly, I'm excited. Yeah, thank you guys for purchasing that. That was the click through. All right, let's get to the breakdown here. We're gonna be breaking down UFC Vegas 62. UFC Fight Night 212. Alexa Grasso minus 230 headlines opposite Viviana Araujo plus 195. Sorry, I gotta say it like I'm the NBA Jam announcer from 1993 when someone scores from downtown. I like Grasso here. I don't know if I'd be rushing to like lay the chalk on her. The old WMA. Some more turmeric toner back up here. Match the color of my shirt. It doesn't matter. I think this is green. But guys, I'm like colorblind kind of, back in the karate days when I was a teacher, I'd give kids the wrong belt. They'd be like, "Oh, a purple belt already? I thought I was getting a blue belt." Like, that is a blue. Fuck, I fucked it up. So don't disregard my color analysis. Here comes MMA analysis. A little better than my color. Okay, a lot better than my not perfect, but A lot better than my color analysis. I like Grasso here. I think this fight's going to make you sweat if you bet Grasso in the beginning because it's going to be really competitive. But Araujo is like Aldo in the sense of, and not a bad comparison, by the way, Aldo, but Aldo, let me finish the sentence, Aldo in the sense of that he needs pockets of coop to recover. Now, Grasso is not necessarily a builder like a Max Holloway, but she is a high-volume fighter. And more importantly for this stylistic fight, she's improved her wrestling, her scrambling, and her overall jiu-jitsu. She's only a purple belt to Araujo's black belt, who also, I believe, she dabbled in judo, and it takes preternaturally to the wrestling. Again, Aldo comparison, right? She needs her pockets of time and to recoup and recover, which is why, outside of her last fight, which possibly was due to a really weird fight and a really bad performance by Andrea Lee, who always has bad body language, like she is gassing, but quietly puts up a good fight and has more of an argument to rounds than meets the eye. But her gas tank actually matched that bad body language, and it was just an overall bad performance from Andrea Lee outside of dropping Araujo in the first round, which I don't exactly hate people going Araujo still in that first round, by the way, folks. If you look at the fact that she, at least to one knee, depending on what rule set of striking you're going by, scored one knockdown herself in the beginning, and then not crazy damage, but was active going for advancements, positions, and strikes while controlling large stanzas of that rest of the round. Not trying to die on a horse on that argument, just saying for what that's worth. And she comes through and wins round 2 strong. But I literally think in victory and defeat, she's lost round 2 in almost every fight, minus the fights where like Toledo Bernardo, where she washed the opponent, but not necessarily washed. Wash, yes. Washed result, sure. But I guess what I'm just trying to say is that when you go back to watch some of these fights, including that Toledo Bernardo fight, it's a bit closer than meets the eye in the fact that she's like world-beating first rounds, and then she finishes Bernardo in the third round, right? So it's easy to forget. But she gives her opponent moments and gets tagged up and will get hit with some clean shots. Whether it's just being, lackadaisical or lazy or again, taking that time to recoup. She's got that Robbie Lawler-esque, thing where he takes off that second round. In 3-round fights, right? He takes off rounds in between in 5-round fights. That's Again, great fighters do this. I'm just saying it's what it is, and she's got that. That athletic, and that's the athletic and explosive build, as opposed to just labeling it on certain athletes of a certain color, which commentators tend to do subconsciously. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's just something I've noticed since I was a kid in all sports. I'm not coming at any commentators in particular here. I got love for the commentary teams, she is athletic and explosive. Like that's the accurate usage of it, folks. She has skills to accompany it, but even those skills, it's funny. She takes on to striking naturally despite coming from the aforementioned grappling base. But I think she can get countered by Grasso. Grasso has gotten sharper and sharper with her counters when they're appropriate. She's not a counter fighter or strictly counter fighter by any stretch. She's certainly not a back foot fighter. She's a stick and move, bordering boxing punching, as much as one can be, I suppose, for her strength and stature in that division. And I do worry those big steps and those big dips and those big shifts that Araujo takes. She can be hit, It's kind of like that thing, I was talking about the initiative when I was recapping that Jesse Ronson and Joaquin Silva fight, that, it's really, and it has nothing to do with that I picked and bet Ronson, which I did, raising my hand there, state the bias, but it upsets me as just a southpaw stylist to see a southpaw get outdone in his own stance. It shouldn't seem like it should happen on paper, and furthermore, from a technical perspective, it's upsetting because most southpaws are faking it, and even if they're able to do good or decent or even good offense from the southpaw stance, there's still like literally 8.5 out of 10 chance that their defense is not up to par, because most of the time it's not. If you're playing the percentages, and you got to take that gamble, you've got to test them. And that was upsetting with that one. And that point was kind of proven when Araujo was getting cute with the southpaw stance. She's been going to it more. Before she would do the jacare, which, where she would just kind of shift back from orthodox to southpaw and do the check right hook to counter, and she still will counter, but now she will actually fight and stage crosses and kicks from the power side from southpaw. But again, back to my previous point, defense does not often come with the offensive improvements. And sure enough, even despite getting dropped, Andrea Lee was immediately able to return her twice with 2 drops, right, in that first round because she tested the defense in the southpaw stance and it wasn't there. And Araujo's defense has been kind of suspect anyways, and she's been kicking a lot less. Some matchups you could argue it's strategy because some of her lower kick outputs against grapplers, so you're like, okay, maybe she doesn't want to grapple because I think grappling tires are out. Even we've talked about this before, jiu-jitsu fighters, wrestlers, veterans, particularly veterans coming from either jiu-jitsu or wrestling, when they get older, and again, Araujo, 35, not old. I'm coming from the 37-year-old, right? I'm a little rose-colored glasses with that right now, granted. But she doesn't have a lot of MMA miles on her for what it's worth. But still, what we do see, what is the common thread with the older fighters that come from the grappling base? Grappling tires them out more. If she already has the biology to potentially be tired out as an athletic, explosive fighter who needs her pockets to recoup, well, then it could be problematic if she grapples. So grappling could actually do her in. It could be one of those things where, and we'll talk about Askar Askarov coming up, but, where, especially Askar Askarov's fight with Kai Kara France, where a fighter gets body triangle for the majority of the first round, and if they don't finish you, it's a sketchy second round for them almost every time. Even when they win by knockout, like Beneil Dariush, right, where he was on rubber legs trying to stay alive against Drakkar Klose, and he still got the knockout, thankfully for Benny. But you get what I'm saying. It can be a dangerous proposition. Araujo, not necessarily a body triangle back hunter. She doesn't seem too urgent for submissions. So again, more so the worry though of it could be a lot of work that may win her the round, but what's it going to do in a 5-round fight when we haven't seen her in 5 rounds? And we haven't seen Grasso either, but I suspect, not to, do the not to call out a stereotype and then return with another by going down the Mexican cardio lane, but she is a high volume fighter and you do need good cardio for that. So it's proven in her style. And she does train at a slight elevation, I believe, for what that's worth. So there's a lot of cardio seeds in the proven evidence and otherwise. So yeah, I think she pulls away down the stretch after some close, sketchy rounds. I played Grasso by decision at 1.2 units. I got it at plus 100 at one house, and then I got it at minus 120 at another. That's probably why I just put 1.2 across the board to keep the same exposure, and I get at least a unit back. It was an interesting bet. Which is funny. Not 5 times. Those of you who play Bet Online, they started recently offering this. It's like they're trying to copy the fantasy houses, which I appreciate as a guy who's in Vegas and can't play any of these fantasy lines that you guys get. All the FanDuels and DraftKings, all the round 3 or decisions, all these freaking sweet lines that I would be all over. Dan Thomas with my analysis, and I appreciate when you guys give me a shout when my analysis helps you guys cash those tickets. Don't let it stop you by any means. But I'm just saying, for us regular bettors who are stuck with these other houses, it does, not that I'm trying to give pub to fucking Bet Online, I shouldn't even be mentioning him, but it's going to a specific point. And I don't see these lines up at many houses. And it's weird because this is one of the few matchups where, I'll push on the rest of this fast, folks. This is one of the few matchups where it would come up, but it says specifically, and I've never seen this before, fighter wins round 1 on the scorecards, fighter wins round 2 on the scorecards, so on and so forth. I assume if you bet a fighter to win round 2, for example, like Grasso round 2 minus 150, for example, and let's just say she gets like a submission in round 3, which I'm not predicting, but let's say she does. I would hope that they look at the graded scorecards that are turned in and still grade your wins, and you can still win despite a finish, right? Because again, back to what I was saying about Araujo and her religiously either losing round 2 or having bad looks and scares and taking it off and maybe barely winning round 2 when she does win it. This will be the perfect time to bet that. Minus 150 is, by my definition, playable chalk, but again, I'm already playing a minus 120 line. Even if I at least at one house, even if I was getting plus 100s or plus money across the board on the decision, I'm taking that. Right? That's a better bet. We could cash both of them potentially, but it's exposure. Minus 150 is not a big ask, but it's like I'm already exposing myself on a WMMA fight. Laying a unit or more on some, on either a low plus number or a playable chalk already. Do I need to play more chalk? So I didn't play it, but I thought that was interesting that they are offering those. So again, not too sexy here, despite the evidence actually leading to a clear direction if you wanted to play those and pay the price for it. But it's something for you folks to think about if you're playing on houses that offer those, because sometimes there are just fighters who always, have a good chance of winning, or more specifically, tend to drop a certain round, right? That's something to look for, Maybe we'll talk about that with let's see what they're offering. Actually, remind me, Royval round 3, which I feel like explaining that thought already kind of gives way to my analysis there. But scorecard winner of round 3, Brandon Royval minus 115. Motherfuckers, that would probably be the only bet I would do on that fight still, just because I have no action on that fight. Spoiler alert, but I got some analysis for you because I went on the tape on that one. So for what that is worth. Ja Melanson. Sorry. Oh, it's good stuff, D-Love. Thank you. Ginger, lemon, turmeric. Simple mix, but it's a really well done mix, actually. It's not too hardcore, though I don't mind that stuff. Let's go to the next fight here. We're going to go to the co-main event. Cub Swanson, plus 175. Jonathan Martinez, vote for Pedro, minus 205. I love minus 200 lines on Jonathan Martinez because he gets the respect that, I looked crazy for, saying he deserves, after he got beat by my guy, the Asian sensation, Andre Sukumtat. Which he took that fight on short notice, by the way, UFC debut, yada yada. Sukumtat gets a lot of crap, but I know he's definitely had some flubs there that he would admit himself. Definitely not going to defend those, but I will say that dude was better than given credit for, and Martinez kind of proved me right as far as earning those odds. And every time he's got these minus 200 odds, you hear the same song and dance, everybody questioning him. And then the Davey Grant fight happens, and you're like, okay, well, now it sucks because now all the questioning, it's going to validate all the prior questioning and fuel all the future questioning, right? And which it has, even though he keeps coming through. I mean, he was even getting faded against newcomers who haven't been really heard from before or since. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean J-Mo, Jonathan Martinez, is going to win the fight? Not necessarily. Am I uber confident that he's going to win it? No. Am I picking it? Him? Yes. Yeah, I am picking him, and I feel bad for that because I like Cub Swanson. And I feel like Cub Swanson could pressure Martinez. We've seen boxing pressure kind of get the better of him. I do think that the turbo Alejandro Perez, his success was a bit overblown, as it always is. That guy just always weasels out scorecards. Shouts to Shaq from Half the Battle. Perez, man, that guy's a weasel, man, on the scorecards. And he always hits guys, speaking of Sukumtat, fucking knocked him down 3-4 goddamn times in a round and loses it's ridiculous. I know one round doesn't judge the fight. I'm just saying, it was just the optics on that was ridiculous. But, he got a knockdown because Sukumtat was on one leg. And, of course, Jonathan Martinez suffered this. I was cursing so hard because I called out that scenario, if you guys remember in the episode, before the fight happened. I was like, watch, that shit's going to happen. And I did at the end of the round. I was like, you motherfuckers. But the one thing is, Martinez, he's been starting a lot stronger and being more confident. And when fighters press him, he's been getting more confident. At first, he started to get more cautious, which I thought was going to be a natural correction from getting knocked out by dangerous Davey Grant. Davey Grant, hello there, hello, puppet. Jesus, sorry. Danny's not the character from Pirates of the Caribbean. But no, he's actually been getting much more confident, especially in his boxing range. that being said, again, Cub at boxing range, Cub if, the fight's able to get going. And you want to look at, again, my basic deduction of you look at Cub versus Southpaws. And I saw a conversation of this. Shouts to my guy Clint, by the way. I believe he had my guy Aaron Bronstetter on his program. I've been so out of it. I've been like, that went over my head. But I was just listening to my guy Aaron Bronstetter's podcast. Shouts to TSN MMA show before I was jumping on here. And he was giving my guy Clint a shout. And I was like, oh, that's right. They were going to do a show together. I believe they met in my comments. But no, good dudes right there. But yeah, Clint was commenting on Southpaw stats. And it was a conversation. I kind of just eavesdropped on that conversation. He's having with another gentleman who I don't have the Twitter handle handy, so apologies. And they were talking about, like, is Cub 3-0 against UFC level Southpaws, and definitely wasn't, definitely not calling out stats. I just, me, I'm Southpaw stuff is my specialty, and that is the stats that I've got some experience fishing out on. I don't fucking own them. Anybody can put them out there. Go ahead. I tell you guys that they're very deceptive stats. They don't. A lot of the times they don't tell you much, so it's not like I'm bumping my chest on anything here. But one thing I was telling Clinton, some of the guys, is that you got to go back deep and look, even if it's not relevant. It may help you paint a picture, but if you're looking at just his UFC career, he's 3-0 against UFC level Southpaws, but you can't forget about lightweight legend Jens Pulver, who people were already. I was already sensitive for the Jens disrespect from all that lightweight goat talk, and everybody was just like not posting pictures of Eddie Alvarez, BJ Penn, Jens Pulver, Gomi. Like none of these guys were getting. I'm like, what the? Who are you kids? What have you done with my sport? What have you done with my favorite division? Stop it. But yeah, so I definitely wanted to mention Jens there, although it was by submission. But it's weird, right? Because it's like, well, one of the Southpaws he beat was Kron Gracie, who was a submission guy who really didn't have much striking to his name. He did beat Dustin Poirier, but going back to watch that fight, it's like, man, I'm surprised. Like, was I blinded by my Giga hating? Or what? Because like you look at it and like Cub Swanson got hurt to the body. From the southpaw kicks there. When you actually go back and look at that fight, and he's gotten hurt to the body. It was just crazy because Cub is a body puncher, and again, even though the 3-1 is the more accurate stat, how accurate is it really? Because you look at fighters, Max Holloway fought a majority of that. That was one of his most southpaw centric performances, and he busted out a southpaw stance. And he messed Cub Swanson up with it, right? Giga, again, aforementioned Giga with the Giga kick. Comes from the southpaw stance, which is a liver kick, by the way, folks. It's easy. But Giga also fights from orthodox, so he's a switch stance fighter. He's not a dedicated southpaw. But again, it was the southpaw stance that messed him up. So it was more kickers than southpaws, And again, I love the southpaw stuff. It's my first range of process. I'm proud of the stats, but at the same time, I will admit when the stats need to take a backseat of relevance, or better yet, maybe has no relevance. You guys know that I'm also not shy about saying that. And it's not that any of it has no relevance. I just think that the more relevant thing here is how does Cub do against kickers? And despite his deep resume, he really has not fought a lot of kickers. The last of the kickers that he beat was, again, back 2014, Jeremy Stevens, when he was on his arguably best career run, right? Dennis Seaver, who was aging out at that point. That was all the way back in 2013, almost a decade ago, folks. And then before that was the aforementioned Dustin Poirier. Even Roop, I think, had a good first round and really threw him off with the lengths and kicks. Might even got him good to the body. So again, kickers, he hasn't fought a lot as of late. And another reason why I should have seen the Giga kick, so to speak, coming is because you look at it, and not just kickers, right? Not just kicks from the southpaw stance or people that would kick from a southpaw stance, yada, yada, yada. It's something that I always talk about with wrestle boxers, and Cub's not a wrestle boxer, but he does, from the boxing side, he does love he loves to dart, he loves to box, and he loves to dart box, right? And a lot of guys who like to dart, they like to, like a la Dominic Cruz, they like to dart and load their boxing, their shots, their counters, their darts in, their darts out off of a crouch. And Cub primarily fights from orthodox. He's got some cool looks from southpaw, but he primarily fights from orthodox, and he'll shift when he's feeling the flow, right? And since he's primarily fighting from orthodox, he's primarily dipping to his power side, which means he's dipping to his right side, right, folks? And that's why that. And so if someone's dipping to their right side, hence that tweet. And again, I know Cub's not a wrestle boxer, but my tweet: death taxes and wrestle boxers getting caught with southpaw head kicks, right? Or maybe even body kicks, southpaw power kicks, we should say, because whether it's body or head, they're naturally dipping to that side. And you can watch all iterations of Swanson's career, and he's got those natural motions. He's got those natural darts, those step offs, those pivot offs, those crouches, just the dips down. And yeah, I think that's going to be bad against a guy like Martinez, who has knees, front kicks. Martinez must be a Sitachai guy, because I've been really trying to take off that style myself, and my foot is really really hurt right now because of it. You're not supposed to be kicking with your foot. Like, yeah, I know that, but when you're throwing a lot of front kicks, or when you're kicking a lot of body kicks, like I do, because my flexibility is not great to mix in as many headshots as Martinez does. You can catch elbows a lot. I'm sure my guy, hey, Kumite TV, is that the picture of John Yunko? There, protect your neck for real. That's right. My guy John Yunko knows. Shouts to another media guy who's been training. Shouts to my guy Kenny as well. Lost over 50 pounds. Gabe Killian in the house. What's up, Gabe? Entertainment, respect to you, Gabe. Hope you're well, brother. Hope you and the fam are doing good. But yeah, you can catch elbows and stuff and get like deep bone bruise crap going down. But anyways, Martinez has a really good play off it, and he's been mixing in the boxing as well. So, and then, there's the whole thing on Cub. I don't even want to play on the age thing, man, as a guy who's 1 year shy of 38, But let's be honest, there's the weight cut, the not talking, and having Daniel Argueta, sorry if I mispronounced that, his teammate and manager speak for him. I get it, man. Like, I haven't been eating enough some of these days, and I'm not used to eating so little and working so hard that, like, I get, like, not having energy, and, like, only so much energy a day. That's why I'm dragging ass, and I didn't get my main event breakdown turned in until earlier today, which is why you guys aren't seeing it yet. Even though I recorded the video on Tuesday, and I started doing tape study for the main event, Grasso out of Ujo. Back on Saturday night, I actually did try to get a head start, for what it's worth, folks. So, I'm not trying to cry and complain, and I know everyone's like, hey, why'd you start early? And it's like, motherfuckers, I got a life, and I'm trying to compete in this motherfucking sport, and I want to try to give you guys good analysis, and not get my head bashed in order to do that. I got to train really effing hard. After I just cursed a whole bunch, and then I say effing. But I know you guys aren't giving me shit. I love you guys, but I'm just, I'm getting all defensive because I'm cranky. So, anyways. But yeah, let's move on from that. Not move on from that. Dan, what are you playing? I played Fight Doesn't Go the Distance in case Cub does win, because I'll be really happy if Cub wins here, folks. As much as I'm a Jonathan Martinez guy and I started defending him, I'll be happy if Cub has a vet performance, because he's got the tools to swarm and adjust, right? If he gets out of that first round, I think he can really just he could steal this fight away. I think there's going to be a finish either way. Martinez has shown he can be finished. And Swanson, it's hard to finish him. He hasn't been finished much on paper when you really look at it. But, again, he's been hurt a lot by kicks and stuff to the body. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I'm going to go with, either a body or a head kick from the southpaw stance for Martinez. Plus 111, and I put 1.2 units on that as well. And then what I also did was I sprinkled on Martinez in round one at plus 550 at $20. I don't want to see again. Shouts to the Co-Main Event podcast. That returns over a unit. So both plays return over a unit. And if Martinez wins but doesn't win in the first round, we still, get paid. That $20 is easily covered by the other bet. Or if Cub Swanson wins and wins inside the distance, we're covered. If it goes to a decision, it'll probably be a depressing decision. I'm gonna guess, or something like Martinez, who has like underrated wrestling, by the way, is gonna like surprise and like, if he doesn't get him out of there by striking, he's just gonna like wrestle like a really tired Swanson. It's gonna be like Aldo with his first fight to 155, where like Marlon Moraes was like tossing him over his head. Like where'd Aldo's wrestling go for that first fight? Like he was so broken down and worried about his energy management, like his wrestling and physicality was lost for that first fight. That's also what I'm gonna kind of count on here with another older vet making a late drop. So if that does happen, I'm hoping it doesn't. Hopefully somebody gets a finish, baby. We're going for violence there. Last fight I got strong opinions on, and I will go relatively fast for the others because I think you actually can go relatively fast for the others. Askar Askarov minus 240. Brandon Royval plus 200. I was leaning Royval hard, and I was having trouble deciding this fight. And I wanted to pick Royval, or maybe even maybe take a flyer on him for getting plus 200 or more, right? But at the end of the day, this is 3 rounds, and when I went back to watch the tape, because I was like, I know he had those 2 losses, and I know I cashed on Royval against Kai Kara France, but then I also cashed on Moreno against Royval, and I believe on my guy Pantoja as well, although that was a sweaty one, right? But it wasn't even so much those 2 fights because, you listen to interviews and he had the shoulder injuries, and it makes sense. And man, by the way, as a guy, my knock on wood is not popping out or anything, but I've been dealing with a lot of shoulder stuff, and it's freaking miserable, man, when it comes to grappling. Like, I was just, I'm a big, underhook, swim to single, Damian Maia style guy, right? And or just wrestling in general takes a lot of shoulders. So if your shoulders ain't feeling great, like, wrestling sucks, So that's a worry. But if his shoulder's held strong for 2 fights since that corrective surgery, so it's hard to bank on that. But stylistically, he does give his back a little too much. A la Corey Sandhagen, on the feet and scrambles, Granbying, etc. I really like the stuff that he does. He even does a little bit of shoulder pin action where he reaches his arm under the leg if he's got a overhook, deep arm, on bottom side in the guard. And he goes for that shoulder pin, which I'm a big fan of. Speaking of shoulder pin, I'm going to be working with my guy Neil Melanson tomorrow, which I'm excited about to get back in the chop shop with him. Yeah, I love his style, but I just again, you're giving Askarov what he wants. You're going to at least give him a round, and you're going to need a Kai Kara France style fight to win. And I do believe that it was close, but I did score it for Kai Kara France. For what that's worth, it shouldn't be worth much. Who cares what I think? And it was, it was kind of a close 3rd round. And you look at it and you go, Royval's more active than France, so he should be able to pull that off. But he's more active at the cost of giving his hips, succeeding takedowns, giving his back. So he's also going to be giving, at the same token, it's push-pull, no free lunches, right? He's going to be giving Askarov plenty of opportunities as well. And that's the problem. Askarov, this doesn't seem to be too short of a notice of a fight. I've seen, like 10-week announcements or whatever posted on Askarov's IG. I like Royval a lot, man. Be rooting for Royval here for sure. For me, it's dog or pass. I can't even remember if I picked Kai or Askarov, but either way, this was kind of a similar attitude I'm having where I wouldn't trust the chalk, even if I'm picking it, even if you're picking it. I'd be careful about playing. I'm not trying to tell you where to put your money, folks. I'm just saying be careful. Askarov's a guy I've been fading for a reason. He lost outright to Brandon Moreno. That was just an awful decision. We'll talk about more awful decisions on this card that I was on the wrong side of. You know how that goes. But yeah, that one really irked me. And I would love to get that back on him. But I don't know if I'm going to take the shot here. Again, if anything, especially if you give me some plus or even money, I know minus 115 is close, but Brandon Royval winning round 3. I think that's I actually think that's a decent bet. But then again, does Brandon Royval catch him with something earlier for the upset, or does Askar Askarov put him away? Right? Again, he's been put away, but that was also bad shoulder Royval against really good dudes like Pantoja. Ooh, I know Askarov beat, but MMA math is not a thing I like. So I'm officially reluctantly picking Askarov by decision. But I like that round 3 is calling me, man, especially if that number gets any better. But no plays, I'll probably end up staying away, to be honest. So don't get too crazy on my behalf, at least. Do what you like, and best of luck to you. Durko Todorovic, minus 200. Dusko Todorovic, of course. I am making fun of best fight odds. It's Durko Todorovic fight week. As my guy Aaron Bronstetter says, minus 205, 200, plus 170 the comeback on Jordan Wright. Listen to an interview with Jordan Wright. Just seems such a likable dude. But I am going to once again pick against him. Here, I'm going to go Dusko Todorovic. That should be no surprise. I actually was deciding, the only play I was thinking about is this under being my anchoring play. It's like minus, I think, 222 for 1.5. But even though I'm currently leaning more toward a slightly more expensive under, that is an option, as well. You tell me what you think, but we'll get to the under that I'm looking for my round robin under. But currently, by the way, that round robin, Swanson Martinez doesn't go for the low plus money. Ada Ujo Grasso by decision at plus money. I want to anchor it again with either this under or another one, and I may be targeting something else for plus money there, since I probably won't be putting Royval in the round robin since I'm not picking him. Alonzo Menifield, minus 205. He's coming for blood. Misha Serkinov, plus 175, who hasn't posted much except for like random pictures of the beach, random pictures of him at Laguna Beach, and at some random BJJ gym. I don't know what's going on. I love Misha. I hope his wife's doing well. Really sympathetic to their story. Misha seems like such a nice guy. Hard not to root for him. But the pick here is Menifield inside the distance. Part of me was looking at this under, but it's actually closely lined for probably a good reason, because this could be one of those weird fights that go long. You just get guys, you get both guys scaring each other enough to just have a staring contest, and you're fucking being frustrated at your ticket. Whether it doesn't go, whether it's Misha sub, whether it's Menifield inside the distance, like we all be crying together at the end of this thing if it gets weird, right? So I'm definitely leaving the door open for this one to get weird, and but I'm gonna pick Menifield for sure. Menifield. The hearts with Serkinov though. I mean, it wouldn't be bad if you won. Mana Martinez, minus 150. Did he open as the favorite? Let's see here, because we got Brandon Davis plus 130. Opened as a pick'em. Yeah, it feels like that. I haven't finished tape on this fight. I want to review Brandon Davis' second bout here in the second stint, I believe, here in the UFC. I got love for Mana Martinez, and everything him and his teammates have gone through, losing Coach Saul. Dude comes from a traditional martial arts base, probably got a lot of shit for it, probably still does. So of course I got love for him there. This is not a fight you should be picking confidently, and I don't even know if I will be once I tape it. I'm pretty sure it's on the main card, so I'm going to pass the buck and plug my main quick picks and prognostications articles that I've been doing this year over at MMAJunkie.com. And I think this is going to be in the main card. I know there's a lot of debate because ESPN doesn't have it listed, but Tapology does. I'm not going to get into the war of this is better than that or this sucks. I think it's stupid. I will say Tapology is awesome and is accurate more often than not. So I use it as well as others, as well as in my tabs. And I will say, since we're talking betting language, I believe openers would be minus 500 and bet up to minus 800 if they had a line that said Will this UFC fight night card, not pay-per-view, fight night card, be 6 fights in the main card? Yeah, that's a minus 500 opener. So, those of us paying attention all know that. Feel free to like and subscribe to the video, by the way. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can still like and subscribe. Daniel Tom MMA on YouTube. But yeah, that I'll tentatively slightly side with Mana, but that pick could change. So you got to check the article. All right, on to the prelims. How are we on time? 50 minutes. Let's see if we can wrap this up fast. Joe Anderson Brito, minus 365 against Lucas Alexander. I am not familiar with Lucas Alexander. He is stepping in for, I believe, Melsik Bagdasarian. Melsik Baggins, if he was a member of the Shire, trying to avoid molestation from Gandalf. What version of Lord of the Rings did you watch? Trust me, the director's cut's crazy. I mean, all the subtext there, folks. Y'all shouldn't be surprised that Gandalf is a pedo. Anyways, or as he would say, it's not illegal because they're hobbits, they're not kids. And anyways, Gandalf splits hairs about it, but I wouldn't trust him, folks. The other guy doing mushrooms in the woods, that's a wizard I might hang out with. Okay, that guy, although there's a lot of creepy mushroom dudes too. So let's be real, folks. All right, this is not this podcast. Lucas Alexander. Who the fuck is this guy? He's coming off of a win from he beat Jacob Kilburn at Anthony via arm injury at Anthony Pettis FC. It's kind of appropriate to win by injury on Anthony Pettis FC, but I'm joking. I'm fucking breaking all over the place. I shouldn't joke. I love you, Anthony. It's all love, brother. All love. Just making bad jokes here. Yeah, I don't know anything about this kid. I'll have to look into it. Fusion XL. Brazilian who looks like maybe migrated to Florida. They named me after a state, Florida. Of course, I'm going to pick you, Anderson Brito there. Next fight, oh my God, Rafi Assunção, plus 320. Victor Henry, minus 390. Victor Henry seems like a really cool dude, by the way. I think I would get along with him okay. At least as far as like muscle cars and like martial arts or whatever. I don't know about other stuff, but anyways, I'm just saying I got love for him too. But Rafi Assunção, I love this guy. So I didn't realize he was fighting Victor Henry, and I've been seeing him at Extreme Couture. He's been doing this whole camp here. He's been there for a couple months. Camped out with Nicholas Mata, who should have got the bonus, by the way, for his fight. Shouts to Nicholas. And looking good, active, and I went up to him to talk to him maybe a little over a month ago. And it's funny, I'm not a starstruck type of person in general, much less at the gym. Been at Extreme Couture since 2007, 2008 or some shit. And there's very few fighters I asked for pictures or anything for. I think I took a picture with Cyborg because she trained and sparred with us, on the amateur fight team and crap back in the day. There are certain photos you may find of me or this or that, but it is really few and far between. I'm not that guy. I'm there to train. They're there to train. The fuck do I gotta bother them? Why do they need to be bothered by me? That's my general attitude. But it was clear that he was done training, was kind of standing around, waiting around for something. And my class hadn't started yet, and I was just like, "Hey, Huffy, man, I just wanted to say I love your style, man, and I got mad respect for you, and this and that, because he just seems like a guy who doesn't get that love, much less for his style, and much less, I mean, you didn't get the love from the UFC. You look at who he beat when he beat them, current, former champions, greats. He was the man. He was a counter fighter that went to decision. So of course he was not going to get a lot of love and a lot of highlight reels. But for us technical nerds who know the game, I mean, dude was so skillful, so damn skillful. And I'm not trying to make myself feel better or share a stupid story of no relevance, and perhaps it is a stupid story of no relevance. But I just wanted to make the guy feel good, I was just like, man, I was like, you the man. I just want to say you the man, man. And this and that. And I don't know why I first started feeling emotional while saying it, because I'm get more emotional as I get older, and then I'm feeling extra emotional. Some of my coworkers might tell you I may get getting rowdy in meetings and stuff, but yeah, I've been getting extra emotional with the whole weight cutting and stuff, and fighting stuff, and having opponents fucking fall out and shit. A lot of frustrating shit going on recently, so I'm a little bit emotional. Neither here nor there, but yeah, and so I don't know why I was like, why am I getting emotional about it? But I was just like really pumped, and he's like, thanks, man, thanks, but I really need a win, man. I got to win this next one. And I was like, don't worry, buddy, you got this, man. You the fucking man, Hafi. He's like, no, thank you, but I really got to win this. And I'm like, yeah, you the fucking man. He's like, and he's like laughing. He's like, no, thank you. And I was like, I have a good one, whatever. And that's usually not me, by the way. And then I was like, who is he fighting? Go home. I'm like, oh shit. What the fuck, UFC? What are you guys trying to do? Fucking put the old guys out to fucking pasture? God damn, man. It is brutal in these streets. You guys know my opinion on this kind of matchmaking. I hate it. Again, it's out with the old. I like Victor Henry. He's not a Contender Series guy. I don't have anything against Contender Series guys. I'm happy for everybody getting opportunities involved with Contender Series. Genuinely. But what I don't like is, again, what's going on with the labor markets there in the UFC, and seeing my favorite guys get disrespected in multiple ways. That's what I don't like, I guess. So Hart is with the Sun Sal, but the volume will wash him out. I would love to see him catch Victor Henry and finish him with an upset, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I think that's how he has to win, because he's not going to win a decision with the chin bullying, grappling savvy, and high output of Victor Henry in a 3-round fight. So yeah, it's going to be Henry here, no play. Not sure I will play it out of my love for a Sun Sal. Moy's audio, insomnia, no, man. I mean, yeah, sometimes, most of the time, but not since take a shot. Dan talking about his training, since I've been training and stuff. My schedule's all over the place, and I wanted to give you guys something. Like, it's been off weeks from UFC, from me, or when I did pop in last week, it was for some crappy recap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to give you guys a breakdown. That's what I make. That's what I make. That's how I make my proverbial money, and that's kind of how a lot of us make our money who follow me, and that's how I need to make some money to pay off this gym I've been investing in. So that's what my gambling winnings are going to this year. So yeah. So don't worry, folks. I'm trying my best for you. So let's get on with it. We got Nick Maximoff minus 125. Jacob Malkoun plus 105. Again, speaking of terrible decisions that I was on the wrong side of. Oh, still do I mourn that Soriano fight. That the fight that Soriano won. But yeah, that was awful. Oh, again, Soriano was a Contender Series guy, and that fight didn't even make any sense. Like, what the fuck? You already got like knockouts over other people, other Contender Series people, no less. And you put him in that fight that just made no sense, Maximoff experience-wise, and then he gets that BS decision, and which just of course set him up to get strangled by freaking what's-his-face. Thank you, by the way, Petrovsky. Cashing what was it, the round 1 sub or whatever, prop flyer that I took on that. But yeah, Malkoun, I'm taking him here, but plus 105, even at the opener, wasn't much more than this. It wasn't sexy enough. You probably get a better number Malkoun by decision, and that's how he wins. That's probably how he wins this fight. I think that even if he's not the better wrestler, he's got the better gas tank, and he's good enough to where he's going to make Maximoff work, so Maximoff can win round 1, but I don't see him getting Malkoun out of there. And if he doesn't get Malkoun out of there, I think Maximoff could be the one that's flagging, cutting more weight. Malkoun is smaller. He's a thick guy like me, 5'9", 185. But yeah, he's got good grind and submission savvy, it seems. Doesn't put himself out of position. Stays active with the jab. So again, the damaging fighter. If Maximoff isn't going to get anything off, but with my having flashbacks to him just fucking winning a fight like it was 2007 lay and pray. And, you know, oh, God. That's a terrible decision, sorry. And so believe me, I want to get it back on this guy too. And I'm picking a guy who's plus money opposite him. It's like, Dan, take it. Maybe I will shoot something. Maybe you'll see but it just, again, I'm not getting much value out of it. You get more value out of the decision, and I've got a little bit of PTSD clearly. So if you're feeling something here, don't hold back. I didn't take a deep comb to this fight. Not that it really requires it, I guess. But yeah, so don't go off my base your decision entirely off me here. But yeah, I'm going Malkoun by decision. And there's plus money on both those things, money line or the decision prop. Piera Rodriguez minus 165, Sam Hughes plus 140. Dogs live in WMMA, but I'll probably be leaning toward Piera Rodriguez until otherwise. Sam Hughes, I like seeing her come through. I wouldn't be mad if she wins. Good luck if you're on her. We'll see where I end up or if I even get around to researching this fight, if I'm being honest. No disrespect, just being honest. So I'll lean with the favorite, but again, plug my Twitter at DanTomMMA, where I post my picks and plays on fight day. That's where you will see my final word. CJ Vergara, CJ La Verga. Sorry, no disrespect. That's just my Tourettic response to when I see that name. Plus 210. Tatsudo Taira minus 250. I'm leaning toward Taira here. And Taira by sub was the other fourth leg I was looking at for the round robin. Well, actually, I'll give you my potential anchoring fourth leg next that I'm waffling between. But of the 3+ monies, Grasso by decision, not a big plus number. Fight doesn't go the distance with Swanson Martinez, not a big plus number. I think you can get like plus 350 on Taira by submission. That's his jam. He has punched guys out from positionally when he can't get them there, but Vergara is pretty good even when he does get his back taken, if off memory, I believe. Like with Clayton Rodriguez, like he was able to get Clayton Rodriguez between himself and the mat. You know, if you're gonna have your back taken, it's better to have gravity on your side and for you to be on top of them, for the potential to turn into them, create scrambles, get your back to the mat, slide off. Things I know my guy Liam picks fights knows all about. So you're able to do. He looks like he's able to do those things. But people have gotten to his back before, whether it was the aforementioned fights that he's won, like against, Clayton Rodriguez, or fights that he has lost on the regional scene where he lost by rear naked choke, getting grappler in the small cage. I haven't went back to watch and refresh this fight, full disclosure. And I do want to watch a little bit, even if I'm just going to put a little bit on him via round robin. I want to do my due diligence, of course. And I want to fully disclose that I haven't done my due diligence for what that's worth. But I am looking to a Tatsuya Taira by submission for what that is worth. Lastly, but not leastly, Pete Rodriguez, minus 675. Mike Jackson, plus 500. Man, I'm not going to hate on Mike Jackson. He's, especially as a dude who works in the media space, who's exercising his martial arts, spreading his martial arts wings once again to try and fly. Of course, doing it, on the amateur level. Although if I can get an opponent, especially get an opponent on the card, I hope both cards are streamed, but especially if it's on the card on the 20th, which is a Pro-Am card, that would be streamed on Fight Pass. So, again, if I get an opponent, if I fight on that date, you could potentially see your boy here fight on UFC Fight Pass, which is cool. But not the UFC or anything like, Mike Jackson's doing. So I'm not going to be a hater, but yes, we know what's going on here, and the odds are kind of spelled that out for us. I'm going to take Pete Rodriguez, and I believe the under 1.5 here was like minus like 238 or 244 that I was playing around with. It's either the under in that one, that's going to be my anchoring leg, or the minus 222 under for Todorovic and Wright, will be the anchoring leg. And again, the 3+ money legs, it's not out yet in my house, so I don't have what the parlay would be. But the 3+ money legs I would put that together with would be Grasso by decision. Swanson Martinez does not go to decision. And again, don't pull the trigger on this yet, because not only is the prop not out in the house I'm waiting for, I got to still do my due diligence. I may change my mind and go somewhere else. Where else would I go? I don't know. So maybe for that reason alone, maybe you can look out for I need a bigger plus money dart on there, so that Tyra by sub could certainly serve well as that 4th leg via the round robin. Shouts to my guy Liam Picks Fights. Thank you guys for joining me on the impromptu show. Didn't expect to get really anybody, and the fact that I even had some viewers and some activity in the chat, it's more than I deserve. I'm incredibly grateful for you all for giving me the time. I hope you guys are all doing well, especially those of you who are trained. I hope you guys are staying healthy, unlike your boy who is grinding himself into a pulp and trying to stay healthy. But going to recap picks and plays and get on out of here. Like and subscribe to the video if you haven't already, by the way. All right, taking Grasso over Araujo. Voting for Pedro over Swanson. That's taking Martinez over Swanson. Reluctantly taking Askarov by decision. Rooting for Royval. And looking at that Royval wins round 3 prop if it's offered and it gets down to even money. Maybe I'll take a small stab. Taking Todorovic over Wright. Liam getting love from the chat from Moy's Audio. What's up? Shouts to Moy's. Maybe I might take Martinez over Davis. You will have to see. Over on my quick picks and prognostications. Did not mean to skip the main card offering of Menafield, who I'm taking over Serkinov. Archel Serkinov for taking Menafield. Taking Brito over Alexander. I can say that. Hart is definitely with the Sun Sal, but as an unbiased analyst, got to take Henry here by decision. Taking Malkoun. I haven't decided if I wanted to play him yet at plus money for the small plus money it is, or by decision over Maximov. Takes me on the pads, motherfucker. It's like Nick Maximov. Throwing that army dog. He fights like. He does not fight like your guys, Nate. He wrestle humps like it's 2007. Listen, dog. Dude looks like fucking. Looks like fucking. Place behind the pads guy on steroids today. Sorry, late night Nate Diaz sucks. Even worse than my normal Nate Diaz. Piera Rodriguez taking her over Hughes. Taking Tyra over Vegara La Verga. Taking Rodriguez over Jackson. My plays, I got Swanson. Martinez does not go the distance, plus 111, 1.2 units. Martinez round 1, plus 550, 0.20 units. That's just 20 ducats that I don't want to see again. And Grasso by decision, minus 120. I got it at plus money at one house, but you know me. I don't juice my numbers. I'll downgrade, you know. I'll take off an inch. I'm that secure, right? So Grasso minus 120, 1.2 units, although I did get it at plus money at another house as well. But just giving you the more realistic numbers, especially if you're listening on replay. All right, folks. Thanks again, mixedmartialanalyst.com for the Amazon and on it click-throughs, as well as the PayPal donation link, which you can find at Dan Tom MMA in my link tree on Twitter, where I'm usually most active, although my activity is re-stepped up, and I'm actually more active, arguably, on Instagram. Not for my content, but if you want to see how my training camp, home gym, food, whatever other bullshit that is supposed to go on that bullshit site. You can follow me there, Dan_Tom_MMA. Could probably use that anyways for that whole business and marketing and sponsorship bullcrap. Make yourself marketable, because you never know when you can need the job in this industry. In the meantime, I appreciate the F out of you guys. Keep it locked to MMA Junkie for results, as well as my main card, quick picks and predictions, my in-depth video and article with all the stats for the main. There is a main event breakdown, I should say. As well as all my other content on there. Good luck on your picks and plays. And always protect your neck.